Agriculture in the Classroom seeks to improve student knowledge of agriculture by applying authentic, agricultural-based content as the context to teach core curriculum concepts in science, social studies, language arts, and nutrition. In an effort to further deepen the partnership from the grassroots, Cabinet Office directed Executive Office of the President on Tuesday the 17th of September 2024 that the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, and Forestry to establish a more robust framework for community-based forest associations to further empower local communities in forest conservation efforts. National Landscape and Ecosystem Restoration Strategy 2023 to 2032, which aims to plant 15 billion trees. Cabinet acknowledged with appreciation the growing partnership between the public and private sectors in advancing the tree planting campaign. Welcome to Suya e-learning for food security, climate change, school feeding program, nutrition education for all. When you have bad governance and poor accountability from your local government leaders, then you are doomed to live under control of cartels and fools. We hope you subscribe to our channel YouTube at Suya Mombasa and share this links with your friends or family.
Health and nutrition have significant impact on the overall educational achievements of school-aged children. Ensuring that children are well-fed, healthy and able to learn is essential to the effectiveness of an education system. The main goal of the school meals program is to support the government's effort towards attainment of universal primary education, UPE, and education for all, EFA. It has become a significant strategy for reaching marginalized communities, especially girls in the OSIL districts. The program has helped to increase enrollment, prevent dropout and stabilize attendance at assisted pre-primary and primary school. 1.1 Regular School Meals Program, SMP. The regular program involves the physical distribution of food commodities to schools. The bulk of the food is imported, though there are certain cases when food is procured locally, especially cereals. The regular SMP is implemented with support of World Food Programme, WFP, and provides midday meal tea.
A diet containing ample amounts of protein is associated with several mental health boosting benefits, including increased serotonin, or feel-good chemicals in the brain, reduced cortisol, or stress hormones in the body, balanced blood sugar levels, and improved mental clarity. How did slave trade start in Africa? Slavery in northern Africa dates back to ancient Egypt. The New Kingdom, 1558 to 1080 BC, brought large numbers of slaves as prisoners of war up the Nile Valley and used them for domestic and supervised labor. Ptolemaic Egypt, 305 BC to 30 BC, used both land and sea routes to bring in slaves. More than 8 out of 10 Africans forced into the slave trade crossed the Atlantic between 1700 and 1850. The decade 1821 to 1830 saw more than 80,000 people a year leaving Africa in slave ships. Well over 1 million more, 1/10 of those carried off in the slave trade era, followed within the next 20 years. Africa's food systems confront a multitude of challenges, not limited to climate change, biodiversity depletion, pollution, conflict, migration, external crises, and shocks. Furthermore, regulatory impediments, inadequate funding, and infrastructure deficiencies compound these issues. Africa Can Feed the World, Dar es Salaam, the 19th of September, 2023. Delegates numbering more than 5,000 and representing over 90 countries converged to explore strategies to harness Africa's vast potential in expediting the development of regional, national and sub-national food systems that would not only benefit the continent but also the entire world.
Head onto the streets. The generation of Kenyans born between 1997 and 2012, the Gen Zs, have borne the brunt of the country's slow economic growth. If a country has slow economic growth, it typically experiences higher unemployment rates, reduced income levels and decreased investments. It leads to an overall lower living standard. Over the last 10 years, between 2013 and 2023, Kenya's average growth rate has been 4.52%. This is less than half of the 10% growth rate that President Mwai Kibaki had envisaged in Vision 2030. The National Development Plan's goal was to transform Kenya into a middle-income country providing a high quality of life to all its citizens by the year 2030. But Kenya is still far from it. If we wait for others to take action on our behalf, we'll be waiting a lifetime. But, if we change our mindset to a mindset of hope and faith in what's just, then nothing is stopping us. This quote serves as a reminder that change starts with individual action and that each one of us has the power to shape the world around us. In today's world, it is easy to feel overwhelmed by the problems and challenges that we face. From poverty and inequality to environmental destruction and social injustice, the problems we face seem insurmountable. However, Gandhi's words remind us that change is possible, and that it begins with us. Being the change we wish to see in the world requires us to take action and stand up for what we believe in. It means living our values and principles, even when it is not easy or popular to do so. It means being a beacon of hope and positivity in a world that is often filled with darkness and negativity. Kenya's population is estimated at 54,985,702. Generation Z is the most populous with 18,378,493 inhabitants representing 33.42%. Millennials are 12,123,453 representing 22.05%. Both generations make up 55.47%.
With the year 2050 creeping ever closer, the United Nations projects that by then Africa's population will have doubled. Africa currently accounts for 16% of the world's population. By 2050, a quarter of the world will be African. Africa's population is exploding. It currently accounts for roughly half the global increase, and every 2 years adds as many people as live in France. By 2100, 2 out of every 5 people on Earth are expected to be African. The United Nations projects that by 2050, Africa's population will reach close to 2.5 billion. Such a figure would mean that more than 25% of the world's population will be African. Its population growth will slow thereafter, but Africa will remain by far the largest source of growth globally. Its share of the world's population is set to reach close to 40% by the end of the century. It is estimated the current production of food will need to double by 2050 in developing countries to meet future needs. Current production is well below the levels needed to feed the population, and 2/3 of the continent rely on imports to subsidize food shortages. Africa has one of the world's fastest population growth rates. Growth models project the continent's current population of about 1.3 billion people will nearly double to 2.5 billion by 2050, and it's likely to keep growing beyond that. At the same time, malnutrition is widespread in Africa. 21% of the population faces food insecurity, and the continent is especially vulnerable to climate change. Warmer regions are already experiencing desertification, and areas of low agricultural productivity are susceptible to climate shocks from adverse weather, drought, flooding, and erratic rainfall. The combined effects of population growth and climate change raise a serious question for the continent: how will Africa feed its growing populace in increasingly unfriendly conditions? Studies have shown that diets rich in calcium and phosphorus reduce the number of pathogens and increase the number of lactobacilli in the gut. 8-9. Gut microbes play a key role in animal health, including digesting food, metabolism, regulating immunity, and defending against invading pathogens. In the Vedic text it is mentioned that as long as cows' feeding and welfare care are not right, farmers of the nation will never prosper, the whole country will suffer. Kajiado has suffered tremendously from massive social and economic losses. Between October 2020 and March 2023, livestock mortality hit a high of 424,663 head of livestock, and over 480,000 human beings too faced acute food shortage. As a result, the county government's destocking program, in addition to panic sales by the livestock farmers. Due to the prolonged drought, the traditional pastoral production system became unsustainable. Hence, the county governor H.E. Joseph Olelenko initiated the Kajiado County Transformation Agenda, KCTA, where one of the key pillars is modular. Jun cow grass is a perennial fodder that can be used as feed for poultry, as well as cattle, pigs, goats, and fish. It's a good source of fiber and protein. Benefits of Jun cow grass: high yield, can produce up to 180 tons per acre per year. Multiple harvests, can be harvested more than 5 times a year. Climate resilient in all types of weather and soils. Cost reduction, can reduce feed costs by up to 40%. Sustainable, can help fight poverty, hunger, and malnutrition. Carbon dioxide absorption: Jun cow leaves absorb carbon dioxide emissions. Soil erosion: cow leaves can help prevent soil erosion. Improves animal performance. Moringa can improve growth rate, milk yield, and milk constituents in ruminants. Reduces methane emissions. Feeding moringa to ruminants can reduce methane emissions. Sustainable. Moringa can be produced in high yields and can help reduce carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Green fodder. Moringa leaves and branch green fodder for livestock. Protein substitute. Moringa leaves can be used as a substitute for traditional protein feeds. Poultry. Moringa leaves can be used to feed poultry, but only in limited amounts. Fish. Moringa leaves can be used to feed fish. Rabbit farming. Moringa leaves are used in smallholder rabbit farming in some. Benefits of using a pelleting machine. Cost effective. You can save money on feed by producing your own pellets. Nutritious. Pellets are a balanced combination of nutrients that help animals grow. Easy to swallow. Pellets are cut into a uniform size that's easier for animals to eat. Prevents waste. Pellets help prevent the segregation of ingredients during mixing, feeding. Types of pelleting machines. Wood pellet makers can make wooden pellets. There are different types of pellet mills that can produce pellets from a variety of materials. Poor feed conservation practices, lack of knowledge on appropriate feed and feeding practices, and inadequate data on estimates of the proportion and number of animals kept within specific production systems constrain the efficient use of available feed resources and also contribute to the inefficiency and non-competitiveness of the feed industry. The rapid population growth, urbanization have increased demand for livestock products and will continue to do so. To to successfully implement its commitment to advancing Kenya's bottom-up economic transformation agenda for food security and enhancing the capacity of farmers. Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development recognizes the need for a strategic and comprehensive communication approach, enhancing visibility of ministry projects. The ministry has been actively involved in numerous citizen-centered policies, programs, and projects aimed at boosting agricultural productivity and ensuring food security. Kenya has had a long and calamitous history of political violence and corruption since it gained independence from British colonial rule in 1963. Much of this conflict is rooted in ethnic tensions between different tribes, which many historians attribute, in part, to decades of British colonial rule that intentionally played major tribes against one another. In this year's presidential election, the Kikuyus and Luos were once again competing for the highest office in the land. During the first devolution cycle, we laid the foundation. On this second cycle of devolution, we will emphasize on development. Content production. Produce weekly, monthly, and quarterly content that showcase success stories, milestones, and testimonials from various projects. Develop creative messages for posters, blogs, and other digital content designed to engage the agricultural community. Create a comprehensive photography and media database, including images of ministry events, technology transfer initiatives, and field activities.
PhD in Plant Ecology. Influence of human activities on land use. Changes on environmental quality of riparian ecosystems, a case study of Siwa watershed, Western Kenya. In addition to the PhD, the President holds bachelor's degree in botany and zoology and a master's degree in plant ecology, all from the University of Nairobi. Ruto authored several papers including a paper titled Plant Species Diversity and Composition of Two Wetland in the Nairobi National Park, Kenya.
Attaining food security is a complex task for which the primary responsibility rests with individual governments. They have to develop an enabling environment and have policies that ensure peace, as well as social, political and economic stability and equity and gender equality. It has been argued that a right-to-food approach to food security is not based on vague and replaceable policy goals subject to periodic redefinition, but on existing, comparatively specific and continuously becoming more precise obligations undertaken by governments. Former President Uhuru Kenyatta has criticized African leaders who have been complaining after US President Donald Trump withdrew health aid to Africa. I saw some people the other day crying that Trump has removed funding. He is not giving us any more money. Why are you crying? It is not your government, it is not your country. You don't pay taxes in America. This is a say, okay, what are we going to do to help ourselves? Nobody is going to continue holding out a hand there to give you. It is time for us to use our resources for the right things, he said. The freeze included current foreign assistance program as well, including the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR. Also affected was USAID, which would hamper global tuberculosis, TB. This aid primarily goes to African countries, who responded by urging the American administration to One of the main causes of poverty is inequality, the systemic barriers that lead to groups of people without representation or a voice in their communities. In order for a community or country to work its way out of poverty, all groups must be involved in the decision-making process, especially when it comes to having a say in the things that determine your place in society. An estimated more than $4 billion in soil nutrients is lost each year. However, many African farmers still do not have access to fertilizers or cannot afford the inputs required to bring life back into their soils and halt the downward spiral of environmental deterioration. Empty soils, empty stomachs, empty livelihoods. A new report has revealed that only 20% of Kenya's soil is suitable for food production, indicating worrying times ahead for Kenya's food basket. According to the Soil Atlas Health Report 2025, Kenya's soil has undergone massive degradation, with the country losing 26 tons of soil per hectare annually through water-induced erosion, with some areas exceeding 90 tons. Soil is a vital resource that impacts food and nutritional security. Research shows that soils are also indispensable in the fight against climate change because they store more carbon than vegetation and the atmosphere combined. Carbon is absorbed from the atmosphere by plants and then stored in soils through the plant's roots. As per the report, this in East Africa, where over 40% of soils are degraded, threatening the region's agricultural foundation and resilience. According to data from the Kenyan National Bureau of Statistics, the overall price index of farm inputs has increased from 98.6 points in 2019 to 167.3 points in 2022, reflecting higher prices of inputs such as fuel, fertilizer, seeds, and manufactured feeds. Risk of additional food shortages. Second, rising input prices raise the risk of further food shortages. As input prices rise, some, particularly poorer, farmers will be unable to buy them and will choose to do without or with less. In the absence of other changes to farming practices, this lowers yields. This, in turn, reduces food availability, putting further upward pressure on prices and farmer incomes, and the effect will again likely be largest for lower-income farmers, particularly in Africa.
To care for the soil, we must understand that it is made of both living and non-living parts. The non-living parts of the soil are formed from broken down rock and decaying plant and animal material, such as leaves that have fallen on the soil and begun to rot. The living parts are the tiny creatures that live in the soil. Some of these, such as termites, worms and beetles, are large enough for us to see, but most are too small to see without a microscope. We call these microbes, and they include millions of tiny bacteria and fungi. Microbes and soil fertility. Microbes are very important for improving soil fertility. They take the non-living parts of the soil and convert them into nutrients that can be used by plants. Chemical fertilizers, apart from being expensive and hard to access, can kill microbes. This is one of the reasons that they reduce soil fertility in the long term.
In the Fertilizers and Animal Foodstuffs Act, Cap. 345, the term fertilizer does not include manure, compost, wood ash, gypsum or refuse when sold in its original condition and under the same name, nor does it include organic fertilizers, other than lime. This law has had its deficiencies in ensuring effective regulation of the fertilizers, including bio-fertilizers. People are increasingly becoming health conscious. In response to this, organic farming has gained currency globally. The issues around organic farming include research and development, standards and guidelines, commercialization, quality assurance, regulation. Most of the small-scale farmers use organic fertilizers such as farmyard manure and compost and recycle crop residues as a means of sustaining and improving the fertility level of soils. Organic fertilizers provide organic matter which not only provides nutrients to the soil but also improves the physical, chemical and biological status of the soil. However, the limited amounts of organic sources of plant residues and nutrients content work against reliance on them as major sources of nutrient supply. Moreover, the beneficial policies and acts that reinforce the efficient use of organic resources, such as the prohibition of the burning of crop residues, have been weakly implemented due to lack or weak institutional arrangements for 1. Lack of appropriate packaging and labeling of organic fertilizers. 2. Lack of standards for organic fertilizers. 3. Danger of use of contaminated raw materials. 4. Inadequate material for composting. 5. Lack of a regulatory organization and/or legislation to deal with organic fertilizers. 6. Information on organic fertilizers. How is water managed in Kenya? The Ministry of Water and Irrigation, MWI, is the key institution responsible for the water sector in Kenya. The ministry is divided into 5 departments: administration and support services, water resources management, irrigation, drainage and water storage, and land reclamation. Water resources are stressed and unevenly distributed throughout Kenya, with approximately 85% of the country classified as arid or semi-arid. Overall, 33% of Kenya's water resources originate outside of the country. What bacteria is in a cow's stomach? Rumen microbes include the protozoa, bacteria, and fungi that live inside the rumen, one of the cow's 4 stomach compartments. In just 1 liter of rumen fluid, you can find 25 billion bacteria, 10 million protozoa, and 10,000 fungi.
Procedure for mass multiplication of waste decomposer. The waste decomposer could be mass multiplied by a simple technique that is practically applicable to the farmers. This protocol is standardized by Kshs in 2015. Take 2 kilograms jaggery and mix it in a plastic drum containing 200 liters of water. Then take 1 bottle of decomposer, 30 grams, and pour all its contents in a plastic drum of 200 liters containing jaggery solution. Avoid direct contact of contents with hands. Mix it properly with a wooden stick for uniform distribution of waste decomposer in the drum. Cover the drum with a paper or cardboard and stir it every day once or twice. After 5 days, the solution of the drum turns creamy. The farmers could prepare the waste decomposer solution again and again from the mother culture solution by the addition of 20 liters of waste decomposer solution into a drum with 2 kilograms of jaggery and 200 liters of water. So, again it would be ready in 7 days.
Cow dung, cow urine, milk, curd, jaggery, ghee, banana, tender coconut and water. When suitably mixed and used, these have miraculous effects. After 3 days, mix cow urine and water and keep it for 15 days with regular mixing both in morning and evening hours. Physicochemical properties of Punchagavia revealed that they possess almost all the major nutrients, micronutrients and growth hormones IA and GA required for crop growth. Predominance of fermentative microorganisms like yeast and lactobacillus might be due to the combined effect of low pH, milk products and addition of jaggery sugarcane juice as substrate for their growth. The low pH of the medium was due to the production of organic acids by the fermentative microbes as evidenced by the population dynamics and organic detection in GC analysis. Lactobacillus produces various beneficial metabolites such as organic acids, hydrogen peroxide and antibiotics, which are effective against other pathogenic microorganisms besides its growth. GCMS analysis resulted in following compounds of fatty acids, alkanes, and alcohols. There will come a time when only those that know how to plant will be eating. Chief Oran Lions. If you like African food systems content, please subscribe and share our channel with your friends and family all. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button so you make sure to never miss our weekly presentation podcast. Agriculture is tool to create health, wealth, shelter, protect environment, food, nutrition and basic skills development for our local communities.
नमस्कार दोस्तों, आज हम हमारे खेत में ताराचंद बेलजी के द्वारा बताई गई पद्धति से पंचगव्य बनाने वाले हैं। उसके लिए सबसे पहले देसी गाय के ताज़ा गोबर में 500 ग्राम देसी गाय का शुद्ध घी अच्छे से मिला लेंगे। उसके बाद देसी गाय के 2 लीटर दूध को अच्छे से उबाल के ठंडा करके रख देना है। अभी इस दूध में ताज़ा नारियल का पानी 1 लीटर जितना डाल देना है। अभी 2 किलो देसी गाय के दूध में से बनाया हुआ दही लेना है और उसमें 12 केले अच्छे से मसल कर दही में मिला लेना है। उसके साथ साथ 250 से 500 ग्राम जितना शुद्ध शहद उसी दही में मिला देना है। साथ में ही 10 लीटर गौमूत्र लेना है। इन सभी चीज़ों को अलग अलग बर्तन में ही रखना है और फिर उसमें सूती कपड़ा अच्छे से बांधकर इन सभी चीज़ों को छाँव में रख देना है। साथ में ही जो हमने 10 लीटर गौमूत्र लिया है उसे अच्छे से 2 दिन के लिए उस पर धूप आए उस तरह से रखना है। हमने इन सभी चीज़ों पर चींटियाँ ना आए ऐसी छाँव वाली जगह पे 48 घंटे के लिए ये सभी चीज़ें रख देनी है। 2 दिन बाद हमारा जो अलग अलग मिश्रण हमने बनाया था उसे हमें खोल देना है। अभी इन मिश्रण को जैसे हमने क्रम वाइज बनाया था उसी क्रम में एक बड़े बैरल में अच्छे से मिक्स कर लेना है। सबसे पहले हमने गोबर में घी मिलाया था तो उसको बैरल में डालेंगे। उसके बाद हमने दूध और नारियल पानी लिया था तो उसके बाद उस मिश्रण में डालेंगे। और एक बात का ध्यान रखना है कि हर एक मिश्रण को एक दूसरे में मिलाने के बाद अच्छे से हिला के मिक्स कर देना है। उसके बाद ही अगला मिश्रण हमें डालना है। फिर हमने जो दही में केले और शहद मिलाया था उस मिश्रण को अच्छे से हिलाने के बाद हमें बड़े बैरल में ये मिश्रण डाल देना है। और उसके बाद फिर से हमारा ये बड़े बैरल वाला मिश्रण अच्छे से हिला लेना है। सबसे अंत में 2 दिन के लिए धूप में रखे हुए गौमूत्र को फिर से अच्छे कपड़े से छानकर हमें बड़े बैरल में मिक्स कर देना है। अब जो मिश्रण तैयार हुआ है उसे अच्छे से हिला के उस पर सूती कपड़ा ढक के 15 दिन के लिए छाँव वाली जगह पे रख देना है। इस मिश्रण को 3-3 दिन के अंतराल पर हमें हिलाते रहना है और फिर उसका इस्तेमाल हमें कैसे करना है उसके बारे में अगले वीडियो में आपको बताएंगे।
Panchagavya for agriculture use is also becoming popular now. This is a Vedic concept. We are giving a representative composition of Panchagavya out of many combinations in use. Take a plastic barrel or cement tank and put 3 liters of cow urine, 2 liters of cooled boiled cow milk, 2 liters of curd, 10 bananas, 3 liters of tender coconut water, and 1 kilogram of brown jaggery dissolved in 3 liters of water. In another barrel, mix 5 kilograms of fresh cow dung and 1 liter of cow ghee. Mix the content of these barrels after keeping them separately for 3 days. Then keep it for 7 days. Keep on stirring the mixture once in a day with a wooden stick. Filter this mixture through a net and keep the barrel covered with a cloth to the open top. This Panchagavya may be used up to 15 to 20 days. This is a rich mixture of micronutrients, hormones, plant growth regulators, and useful microorganisms. This is a good repellent of pests and diseases also. Panchagavya may be sprayed to the crops or drenched to the base of the plant. It may be spread at the time of compost production. Excellent result is recorded everywhere with the use of Panchagavya. Let us know one more method of supplying nutrients. Mix 10 kilograms of fresh cow dung, 10 liters of cow urine, 1 kilogram of jaggery, and 100 liters of water in a tank or barrel. Use this mixture on next day with irrigation water at the rate of 500 liters per acre. For spraying, mix 10 kilograms of cow dung, 10 liters of cow urine, 1 kilogram of jaggery, and 10 liters of water in a tank. Filter this mixture on the next day and spray to the crop at the rate of 100 milliliters per liter of water. Spraying this extract 2 to 3 times for any crop will give good result. We find biodigesters in many farms in recent years. Locally available herbages are digested in a tank like this. Dicot plants and plants well known for pest and disease control are selected on priority. Some farmers put neem cake, sheep and poultry manure, vermicompost etc. in bags and immerse them in the same tank. Extract collected in the tank or the digester is filtered and given to the crop with irrigation water. Many farmers spray this extract directly to the crop. According to the farmer's experience, this extract from the biodigester improves crop health and growth. We find farmhouses and cattle shed at a height just next to the garden in Western Ghats region. Many farmers stop producing farmyard manure due to labor shortage. Transporting the manure needs lot of manpower and leads to nutrient loss also. Hence, these farmers flow biogas slurry directly to the garden through pipelines. Slurry is collected in a tank and diluted with additional water. Leaves, straws, etc. are cleaned to avoid clogging of pipeline. This mixture flows to the garden by gravity. Slurry is put to the base of each tree with the help of hose pipes. Farmers without this benefit of slope use slurry pump. Slurry is transported in a tanker to the garden if the distance is more. Organic waste available on the farm is put around the tree base and slurry is poured on it twice a year. This may be called as in situ manure production. Here, the wastage of nutrients is very minimal. Earthworms become active and produce vermicompost. This method gives very good result if the moisture is maintained throughout the year in the garden. This method is termed as slurrigation. Green manuring is one more effective method of supplying nutrients. Leguminous plants are grown on the farm or outside, and the herbage is mixed in the soil. This enriches the humus and nutrient content of the soil. It improves the soil structure also. Sun hemp, diancha, sesbania, etc. are the common green manuring species grown on the farm. These plants are cut and ploughed into the soil just before flowering. Adding green manures 2 to 3 weeks before planting of the main crop will give good result. Sun hemp is grown between rows of sugarcane, banana, mulberry, etc. It is incorporated into the soil after 4 weeks. Black gram, green gram and cowpea are also in use as green manure crops. Sun hemp, horse gram, etc. are grown in open spaces of mango and other plantations. This helps even for weed control. Root knots of these leguminous plants store nitrogen. Subabul, Gliricidia, Sesbania, etc. are grown outside the farm or along the fence. Herbage is cut and used as green manure. Green manuring once in 2 years also brings excellent crop improvement. Non-edible oil cakes are the rich sources of plant nutrients. Neem cake is not only useful for nutrient supply but also for pest and disease control. Castor and pongemia cakes are the other cakes in use. Water fern azolla is becoming popular in recent years as a green manure and cattle feed. Blue-green algae called anabena, present in the folds of leaves, fixes atmospheric nitrogen. Azolla provides 25 kilograms of nitrogen per acre in a season. It can grow and cover the whole water surface of paddy field in 15 days. It is puddled into the soil as green manure 1 week before transplanting the paddy seedlings. Tank silt is lifted after the water dries up in summer and spread in the field. This is a popular practice in plains. Adding tank silt can give good crop for 2 to 3 years. Wood ash is also a good source of plant nutrients.
The objectives of the strategy are to increase livestock feed production, conservation and utilization, institute quality and standards in livestock feed production and handling, ensure quality and safety of livestock feed for domestic and export markets, promote processing, manufacturing and trade in livestock feed, promote research and improve technologies in livestock feed, promote public-private partnerships, PPP, within the livestock feed industry, develop appropriate institutional and legal frameworks for the feed industry, safeguard pasture lands through synergies with the counties. Mulching is the process of covering the topsoil with plant materials such as leaves, grass, twigs, crop residues, straw, etc. A mulch cover enhances the activity of soil organisms such as earthworms. Characteristics of a good mulch. The ideal mulch is economical, readily available, and easily applied and removed, stays in place well, and supplies organic matter to the soil, yet is free of noxious weeds, insects, and diseases. There will come a time when only those that know how to plant will be eating. Chief Oran Lions. If you like African food systems content, please subscribe and share our channel with your friends and family. Or if you're new here, hit the subscribe button so you make sure to never miss our weekly presentation podcast. Agriculture is tool to create health, wealth, shelter, protect environment, food, nutrition and basic skills development for our local communities.